Hey, thank you for being here today as we have a special edition of Out of the Den with myself, Ricky Tips, and Tracy Hayworth. And Tracy, we got a couple of great guests with us today for our show. We got the principal here at Franklin County High School, Dr. Roger Alsop, and our new head football coach, Mac McCurry. Coach, thanks and congratulations for the job.
Thank you, and thank you all so much for all the support and everything, and I look forward to working with everybody, really do.
All right, Coach, tell us a little about yourself. I know we've gotten press packets for the past 2 days, and we've been looking up as much as we can.
Very impressive.
Since we've heard rumors of this being the hire, and very, very impressive. I remember your days at Moore County and coaching down there. Tell us a little bit about you and about what you're going to bring to Franklin County.
Ricky, I've been around. Started out at Moore County and went from there to Lewisburg, Marshall County, and from there to Mississippi as a head coach, and then to Marion County, and 25 years as a head coach altogether. And man, I couldn't be happier and more excited than to be coming home at this point in my career. I'm coming home. I left when I was 17 years old, 42 years ago. I got back just as soon as I could.
You say that. I know you've been interested in this job before, and it's not been right, I guess, the timing-wise. Why is this one right?
Well, you're right. We have talked back and forth, or negotiated, I guess you would call it, even on the high school level, but just talked back and forth with administrators and administrations in the past, and gotten awfully close a couple of times, but for some reason or another, it would fall through. But with the administration that you have here, we have here at Franklin County High School, Tracy and I were just talking about it. It's pretty awesome, pretty exciting, and the more I'm around this administration, the more I realize their commitment to making everything great, and that's exciting. Certainly, as a football coach, I want football to be great, but you also want to be in an environment where it's good and wholesome, and everything is improving.
And that's a rarity because most programs don't have that, where you have a great marriage between the administration and then the coaching staff. And I'm glad that we also have that, but I'm also glad that we have you. You didn't toot your horn loud enough when Rick asked you what you was going to bring. Reading up on you a little bit, you're going to bring 25 years of winning programs. You've got that under your belt. Everywhere you've been, you've turned programs around, and you have created winning football seasons, and very impressive, I might add. So you tell me, it tells me a lot about you as a coach, and that you don't have to have a team full of great athletes. Evidently, you know how to build them, Coach. Well,
I've been awfully fortunate to have a bunch of good young men and good assistant coaches, and at times good administrations, and that's what's definitely, that's one of the keys is good administration. And I can't tell you enough, but you and I talked about it earlier. Every day I find out more and more about our administration. I didn't know until I guess yesterday that both Dr. Alsop and Dr. Lonis were military, or had military backgrounds. Now that makes you, as a football coach, that's good to know. Because you know it's going to be structured, you know it's going to be. Yes. I like somebody to tell me, do this. Don't beat around the bush with me. Just tell me, you can do this, you can't do this.
That's right.
I like that.
Yes, sir.
And I know I spent some time with Dr. Lonis this morning, and I know she's going to be that way. Take charge, and that's what you have to be to run a school system. And certainly.
Along with that, because of my military background, and this is something that we talked about in the interview, is I'm done with the excuses. I'm done with talking about these other programs and these harder schools that we're playing. No excuses. We're going to win. There's no reason why we can't win.
Coach, I got a question for you real quick. I know a lot of the programs you've gone into, Moore County, when you stepped in there, that wasn't a great situation as you came in. Marion County, same thing. When you stepped in there, they struggled a little bit before that. You have a tendency for going into places that have, for lack of a better word, places have not been great. And you've stepped in there and turned them around quickly. I mean, 25 years as a head coach, I don't think you've had a losing season yet, from what I can read. Tell us a little about what you're going to do here in Franklin County to get us back to your days and Tracy's days when Franklin County football was relevant.
Well, you know, it goes back to fundamentals. I'm talking about life fundamentals. It goes back to hard work and basics and doing things right and discipline and just, you know, I shared with the players a few minutes ago that we're going to have a fire for it, you know, and I've got to lead in that regard, and I get kind of excited, you know, at times Dr. Alsop will have to grab me, or Coach Roten will have to say, hey, cool down a little bit, because I get excited. Ricky, I can't hardly sleep, but I think the passion that I feel for it, and I love building a program. I love that. I don't want a program that's already on top. That doesn't excite me. You know, some people like to climb mountains, some jump out of an airplane. I'm not fixing to do either one of those. But I like the excitement of building a football program from, you know, when it's kind of low.
All right, Dr. Alsop, question for you here. Bringing in Coach McCurry, what did you see that excited you?
Well, you know, it doesn't take you long. And you know you're talking to a football coach. He's a football guy. He's football minded. He's smart about the, you know, X's and O's of the program, and he knows how to coach. I think he has the capability of getting the most out of every kid on his team. You know, I've read some things about him, and that's one of the. I read a quote, and he actually shared this with us at his interview. Somebody had written an article about, you know, football coaches and some teams, and one of the things that they specifically said about Coach McCurry is that he has the ability to wring water out of a rock, and that's pretty impressive whenever somebody makes a comment about that, about you like that. And so, you know, that's the kind of person we need. We owe it to our students to make sure we have the best people in those positions to get the most out of them. So,
Dr. Alsop, I have to say that was Brad Locke with the Tupelo Daily Journal, and that only cost $25. Anyway.
We got a coach with a sense of humor also. I like that too. Well, you know, Coach, speaking of coming in and, you know, taking over the program, are you offensive oriented, you're defensive oriented? Are you going to have somebody that's already here that's going to take over just the opposite of the side that you want to call? Or, you know, are you going to be hands away and hire your offense coordinator and defense coordinator, and you sort of oversee both? Just sort of which way are you going to lead?
Well, Tracy, how I'd probably answer that is after I get here and see what we have and, you know, manpower, coaching-wise, and then, of course, I know the administration is going to allow us to seek help from outside too.
Great.
And so we're going to make the best hires in concert with our administration that we possibly can make. And if we've got somebody that I trust with the offense, I've got somebody in mind that I would trust with the offense. He's in this county, and most people wouldn't in this room knows who that is, but I'm going to say it's Kermit Reed. I love Bob Robertson. He's an old friend of mine, but if I can get Kermit up here, I don't have a bit of problem turning the offense over to him. If we've got somebody that I know is capable of running our defense and taking the ball and running with it, so to speak, I guess that would be taking the and stopping the run. But anyway, certainly we would go that direction. But you know, I would like to, at this point in my coaching career, give the offense, give the defense to somebody. But I won't do that unless we've got somebody that I feel that can do that at a very, very high level.
So you're saying depends on what you find or don't find, you can handle either side.
It's just like your player personnel. You know, you can throw the ball a lot more if you've got two receivers and a great quarterback.
That's right.
Know?
Yes, sir. That's right. That's exactly right.
Speaking of that, are you going to mold your offense around what you have, or are you going to try to mold the young men into your offense?
Well, that's what I know is running football, misdirection football, power football, and stuff like that. It seems like when you look at football in the South in high school anymore, you're either spread or you're wing T. You know, you get a smattering of I, but it's either spread or wing T. Well, my only problem with spread, and that's not to say that we won't do that. If we get 2 or 3 receivers and a really good quarterback that can sling it, we'll probably be in a spread. But if not, we're going to be in something where we can run power, and then we can fake like we're going to run power to one side and run misdirection to the other side, or run a bootleg type misdirection type pass. Play action passes, if you look at, again, Alabama, you know, they're a master of it, you know. We've been fortunate every place except for Marion County that we've coached. We've broken the single season touchdown passing record. Now that doesn't sound right coming from a wing T offense, but what happens is people get so concerned about the run, and then you hit them for the home run. And you know, at Recruitment, Mississippi, I think their record prior to our arrival, and they had a spread guy, and it was 16 touchdown passes in the single season. We broke it with 22. What we'll do is, yes, we're probably going to fit our players into a type of an offense which is more misdirection and power, but we will, if we find out that we can throw the ball a lot, we'll throw the ball a lot. You know, Sun Tzu, a military leader from 2,000 years ago, wrote a book that called, and certainly
Sun Tzu.
The Art of War. I know about it. Yes, sir.
He said that, I always said a bunch of things, but he said basically, you know, faint one place and go to another place, and do not watch your enemy wishes and things like that. And we're going to certainly take, and we're going to try to make a lot of it fit into our offense and our defense, but at the same time, we're going to, he also said something about being fluid, didn't he? Being fluid, and so we're going to be fluid along those lines.
Well, you know, with that being said, that means that we're probably going to have to, if we're going to run the ball and try to reestablish the line of scrimmage, so that means we're going to have to get in the weight room just a little bit.
Yes.
Do you have, are you going to take charge of that? You know, is that something that you're going to have your hands on, or do we need to find a weight coach? Because I will tell you, that is something that I think that we really need to express and work on, is the strength of our players and the stamina, and work on the weight program.
Yes, we've been in the past, we've always implemented a weight program, and it winds up being more of a power rather than strength type thing, triple extension things, fast twitch muscle fibers, explosiveness, power clean, certainly squats, but and bench presses, incline presses, and things like that. But we have a lot of auxiliaries where we're trying to recruit those fast twitch muscle fibers that give us the speed and the jumping ability, the hitting ability, the ability to redirect and things like that. And from this point forward, it will be called the Rebel Power System. And you will have different levels of it, and you can achieve this level by, you will become a rebel by achieving a certain number of points based upon your strength, your bench, your power clean, your squat, and your 40-yard dash, your NFL
type core, yeah,
your pro shuttle and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that kind of thing, and that's one of the things that we think that it's been a great part of our success. You know, I played football as a 5'9" lineman. You know, started for 2 years in the South Atlantic Conference. That's not the SEC, but I was 5'9", Tracy.
Yes, but I understand.
But,
yes.
Anyway, I did that by working at trying to develop our body and stuff like that.
You had to learn a lot about leverage also.
Yes.
And
Yes.
because, you know, we do share a lot in common there, because even though I was in the SEC, I was considered a small SEC lineman, you know.
That.
And so I understand about, like, you know, having to learn leverage, and which is very key, you know, in this game. And but you know, another question that I had is, how soon would you get after now that you're hired in here? Like I said, you're owning the program. You're saying we. You know, that's how you should say it. We and us, because that's where you're at now. And how soon are we going to get started? Because I know the off season is very important, and you know we're starting the winter and the winter workouts, and then we're getting into spring. Those and then the summer. All of that's very important on how well we're going to be in the 2017 season. So how soon are you ready to start getting acclimated with the weight program and the winter workouts?
Right. Well, I didn't have a choice. Dr. Awesome said I will be here on January the 3rd.
All right, I like that.
And in reference to your playing days, Tracy, I was defensive coordinator at Tullahoma while you were playing. I don't know if you remember that or not, but it was a unique situation. And there's some guys that you face offensively, and I didn't have a whole lot to do that. But I remember that, you know, we knew we couldn't run at you, so we were going to run away from you. That didn't work either. You caught us from behind in the backfield.
Hey, Coach, I know we've talked a lot about two aspects of the ball game, but there's a very important third that we've not mentioned yet. Tell us your special teams. Where does that fit in with your philosophy and what we're going to do?
Okay, yeah. I love quotes, and Robert Nayland said, "Press the kicking game, for there's where the breaks are made."
I've heard Tracy say that once or twice.
That's right.
That's
right.
The truth.
It is.
That's where a lot of people neglect that. We'll work extremely hard on that, and we think we can make up some ground there a lot of times because, you know, people will wait until Thursday or wait until Wednesday afternoon and use Wednesday afternoon and Thursday. We'll start that and probably be early on that we'll start the kicking game. In spring practice, a lot of people don't work kicking game in spring practice. We will have our kicking game in during spring practice.
Joe, 'cause I saw in there you said you've played every position, or you've played in every form of the kicking game except for field goal and extra point. And it's very important. Tell us, I guess, some of the things. I'm really kind of curious about that point. What do you mean by we're going to work on it? I mean, is this going to be a session that we're going to have every practice? Is this something that we're really going to focus on? Are you going to put your starters in this position, or is it something we're going to try to build around? I'm not sure. Try to get a little more in depth on that.
To answer one of the questions is, will starters play special teams? Well, that's a definite yes, because again, you know, it's where the breaks are made. That will have some young men playing a lot, but we're going to get in good shape. We're going to be in good enough shape, but we're going to work. We will have sessions that will be titled kicking game or punt team or punt return or kickoff during the spring practice, and certainly during the early fall, and we will work on kicking game just like you would offense and defense.
All right, Dr. Alsop, for you, I know when we started talking about the hiring of a new coach here and we were looking at bringing someone in, the cloud that sat over Franklin County was we've not really invested in anyone because everyone that's came in has been here for 3 seasons, 2 seasons, and we've gone somewhere else. We've decided we're going to look somewhere else. One, a 2-part question, what's a realistic view at your first season with Coach McCurry, and what talks have y'all had about, I guess, a long look at his career here?
Sure. Well, you know, like I've said before when we talked about this, I have come from some schools that have had winning football programs, so I know what they look like, and those are the things that I want to see. I want to see kids prepared every Friday night, and I don't care if we're going against, you know, the best team in the world. I want my kids to be ready to play and feel like they can win that game, and that's one of the things that I told the coach when we had the interviews. So am I looking for am I looking at the win-loss record? No, not exclusively. I'm looking at those things that are done prior to the game to make sure that we are prepared and not embarrassed. And the kids are you know, giving me the effort that needs to be, you know, that they need to be giving on the football field. You know, just looking at you know, Coach McCurry's track record, there's absolutely no way he can be as successful as he has been without, doing those things necessary to prepare his team, okay? The other part of it, and I'm not sure if this is part of your question, but I'm going to go ahead and address it, that we talked about is, my number one priority is not building a program, but building these kids, building these student athletes. And I think when you build the students, build these kids, you're going to be building a program simultaneously.
I agree, 100%.
And the other part of this is very important to me, and I made sure to emphasize this to all the coaches that we interviewed, is this is not win at all costs. This is win the right way. We are going to make sure that we maintain the credibility and the integrity of our program, first and foremost, okay? And that is absolutely I'm not going to budge on that. There's no compromise. That is absolute. That has to be in place.
Yes.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't cut you
No,
off, but I know that's very important because you're not only coaching these young men, okay, on the football field, but there's, even if they go play secondary ball, somewhere in college, or if they don't, there's one thing that we can guarantee: they're going to become professionals in the game of life. And and I think it's very important for a coach to not only teach them how to be tough and rugged warriors out on the football field, but also how to be tough and rugged warriors out there in the game of life, because life is going to throw obstacles at them, and they're going to get knocked down. And there's going to be times where there's going to be somebody to be there to reach and pick them up, and sometimes they're going to have to get up and dust it off on their own. And a lot of that comes from the head guy on how they handle such adversity. So is that something that you're going to work on also? I know you're going to keep Coach X's and O's, but are you going to work on mentoring the young men on and off the field?
Thank you, Tracy. That was the segue that I was hoping somebody would give me. And what we do and what we've always done, when I was talking to the players earlier, we referenced that. But what we do is we do a life skills. I've called it life skills. Over the years, I've called it character development, character curriculum. But now we call it Building Champions for Life. And basically, it's a compilation of all the stuff that I've learned over the years, as far as from motivational speakers, Tony Robbins, and Dr. Dennis Waitley, obviously, Billy Graham, people like that, and of course a whole lot of coaches like Dennis Parker, D.W. Rutledge. They built a character development program down in Texas, and everybody in Texas used that for years. You've heard of it,
yes.
and everything. Mm-hmm. It develops all kinds of character traits, and it allows the young men to be interactive. They will actually teach some of the classes. They will actually, provide the word for the day, the thought for the day, read the stories that basically detail what this type of attitude and what this type of responsibility is, and so forth. But yeah, I look forward to that. I've got a feeling God didn't put me here to win football games. I'm here to help those young men be good fathers and husbands and good people, good citizens. Now, I'm going to try to win football games. I'm gonna do my best. I was talking to Dr. Alsop earlier, and I said, well, Dr. Alsop, I said, if indeed we go 3-7 next year, 3-7 the year after that, you're going to still love me, aren't you? And he said, yep, Mac, I'm going to still love you. He said, I'm going to miss you.
Well, I tell you what, Coach, I think if you concentrate on those traits, which is character, I think if you concentrate on that with the young men, usually that kind of character, it breeds winning anyway. So I think it'll just come hand in hand.
What better, really, opportunity and format to do that than coaching the player relationship communication?
Yes.
Coach, another question. How much pressure do you have on yourself coming in, not having a losing season, and then stepping into this program that's not had a winning season, and I can't think of how long?
Didn't that scare you?
both of y'all's questions, yeah, it puts added pressure on. I'm coming home. I'm coming home, and you know they say you can't go home, and I'm coming home, and I want to be a part of the restoration of this football program. There was a day and time when it was a proud thing, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
And you know, I feel a lot of pressure because I've got a lot of great friends, support here in this community that over the years said, you know, we get you here, we're gonna do this, that, and the other, and now it's upon us, and it's daunting, it's overwhelming. Y'all can tell I'm wringing my hands. I had to take my jacket off and everything. It's, I believe that we're up to it. I do.
Yeah, I want to add to that. You know, we specifically talked to all the candidates and asked them about next season, you know, because, you know, our seniors are third coach since they've been in high school.
Yes.
And, one of the things that I absolutely do not want is to just throw away next year because we are rebuilding. Now we're not gonna wait 2 or 3 years before we turn this program around. Program turn around.
And we haven't talked about that, but I feel, I'm with you 1,000% on that because
We got seniors out here, these kids are gonna be
Exactly.
seniors, and they're sitting there wondering, well, what, you know.
they don't have 3 years. They've got 8, 9 months.
The realignment in the conference and the region, have you looked at any of that and looked at what your schedule is going to be for next year?
I have. It's favorable. I haven't looked at it in the detail that I know we played this person, you know, on the September the 29th, and this person on, you know, October the 8th or whatever. But I do know that we play some teams that, well, what did we do? We traded. We got Coffee County instead of Independence. That's, you know, that's enough said there. Independence. I don't think they've lost a game in years, have they?
Yeah, they just lost the championship. Yeah, Farragut.
Okay.
Another great team.
Yes.
Yeah, they're East Tennessee. That's right.
Another question: the kids coming in, like Coach or Dr. Austin was saying, we don't want to throw away a lot of these guys' senior season. You've got a lot of homework to do to learn about these kids in the next few weeks. You know, January 3rd's quick. You know, we're looking at less than a month away now from your first day here, taking the reins of this program. Are you going to look at their past performances to evaluate what you have, or are you going to come in with fresh eyes January 3rd?
Well, you have to look at you know, the videos and look at athleticism and ability and you know, various talents and so forth. But I'm also, and our assistant coaches that are on campus now, I'm going to do my best to just try to sit down with them, and I need to talk to Coach Bean, Dr. Alsop about this, but I'd like to sit down and interview each one of the coaches on the staff on the 19th. And then, as I get to know them and everything, I can also start having them fill out forms that will give us some detail as far as who can do what from their perspective and what their speeds and weights and so forth is. And then a big thing I want to do is I want to be able to put a name with a face. So if at all possible, Dr. Austin, Coach Bean, if I could get pictures of them and a roster and maybe the position they played in the past. So when I got to go back and finish up the semester in Little Rock, and I can be studying that, and I want to be able to call each young man by their first name. I've always done that. I'm also teaching in North Little Rock, which we're at an inner city school, 2,700 kids, and we started out. This is kind of interesting. We started out with 225, 230 kids on the football team. We cut down to about 85 young men right now, and you're talking about some outstanding young men. But I have made the point to learn every one of them by their first name, and I've learned all of my classes. I teach environmental science there, and every child by their first name. I want to do that because then they know that I'm trying my best to relate and know them as a person, not just as a football player.
I know you toured the facilities when you came down and interviewed. What do you feel about Franklin County, what you have that you're stepping into, and is there anything that you can already know that you're going to need to help in the future?
Certainly a great deal of potential with our facilities. This is an outstanding school. It's the first time I've been all through it and everything. It's massive. It would compare to the school. Of course, we're a brand new school. Just moved in it last year at North Little Rock High School, but it's no more impressive than what this looks right here. Same way as you go out to the field house, that's an attractive building that certainly got potential. There's things that, in order to have a great program, I would say that there needs to be some additions, improvements, et cetera, and that's something that the administration and I have talked about, and they've led the way. That's not stuff that I have, and I'd rather not maybe get into the details of that if it's okay, Ricky, but they've led the way, and that's one of the things that impressed me and got me excited about the place, because they're thinking forward and thinking beyond, you know, right now, but 10, 20 years, 30 years down the road, what these young people could use.
Well, I guess that would also help, would have to ease you just a little bit. Looking at a job that wasn't held very long, 3 years, 2 years, you know, year, and then, you know, I'm getting ready to move. I'm coming back home, yeah, you know, things of that nature. But, you know, it's different to come back home and then end up just sitting around not having a job because they wanted to give up on me in a couple of years. Well, now that they talk to you a little bit about things that, how they're looking at the future of the kids several years down the road, that has to give you a little easier to know that, hey, at least they're wanting to invest in me and they're married to me right here a little bit, you know, because I'd say not many coaches get talked to about 10 years down the road, you know, and they talk to, you know, I'll say that's not something that's mentioned very often in an interview because, you know, they're not sure how long they're going to be with you. And you know, and again, like I said, my hat's off to the administration for leading that charge and also in a way letting you feel comfortable and letting you be able to come into this job and be able to concentrate on the things that you need to concentrate on. Yes, it is. And we were talking about the senior class and how important it is to come in and start trying to win and turn it over right now for those guys. Also something that's going to be coming up pretty quick with this class and what you're not going to get to have with them that you will with the guys in the future is time for recruitment, when it's time to maybe see that those guys maybe get a chance to get looked at by someone else. What kind of, you know, I know it's going to be hard for you because, like I said, the time frame is short for you, but what kind of hope can you give them or aspirations as far as saying, hey, I'm going to work for you and help get you out there. I might not get you in the school, but I'm going to try to help you. I'm going to try to help you all I can and try all the avenues that I know and not just leave you out there. If you're somebody who's seeking to go on to the next level, you know,
Good question.
yeah, how you know going to be able to get that going with them.
I brought an article to the interview, and I think I shared it with you, Coach Austin, Dr. Austin. I used to be coach.
That's right. He's still coach.
That's right. But, in the past, we have aggressively approached colleges and universities, also junior colleges. A lot of times,
Yes.
are options. I know some junior college coaches in Mississippi, and
A lot of great ones there in Mississippi.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
it sure is.
and we've aggressively taken resumes and videos and walked to, and the American Football Coach Association, what is it called, the yearly, I can't think of what it's called, but anyway, it's their conference, and it is in Nashville this year.
Yes, it is this year. It sure is.
For, you know, and it rotates around, it's back in Nashville after several years. And
Yes.
what we would do let's say after, this coming football season. I don't know these kids yet, these seniors,
Yes.
the ones that are presently seniors. But next year, I can go to a forum like that and say, hey, this kid right here can do this, he can do that, and, here's who he is on Huddle, and you go to that and look at that, and they can tell within about 12 to 15 plays whether that
Sure
kid is
can.
an athlete and can play on their level or not. But we'll do that. We've done that in the past, and we'll love it, helping the young men of this community, my home community,
That's right.
to move on and do like you and I did,
That's right.
and get out and go
Enjoy
to
this
college.
game.
and-
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
Coach, we got a question through the YouTube channel. How big is your role going to be with the coaching in the middle school programs?
Well, every place I've been, I've essentially tried to make friends with the middle school people. Now, that's what I would like to do, is get in and work with them, maybe have some clinics and so forth, and invite them to be a part of us too. Certainly would love for them to be a part of our Friday nights and be on the sideline with us. Some may be in the box and stuff like that, but definitely we want to marry those two programs the best we can. Not going to push or anything like that with anybody, but you know what's best for the young men. Let's think
That's
about
right.
it. It's doing things like they're gonna do, and when they get to be a sophomore, junior, or senior, and that's best done when everybody's kind of on the same page. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time today. Y'all been listening to a special edition of Out of the Den right here. I don't want to take up any more of y'all's time. I know you've got a lot going on. I really appreciate the time you gave us today.
Yeah, again, thank you again for coming out of the den, and you'll be seeing a lot of us, and hopefully I'll get a lot more chances to drill you and grill you and learn from you. I'm looking forward to it too, also, Coach. Thank you. Welcome to the program.
No, thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Awesome. Great hire. Yes, sir. Thank you.